This is Sam, the Frugal Hugel gardener, and as you know, I've been working on my fruit trees. I've been putting up framing and putting up some good quality bird netting over them so I can protect my fruit, so I get to be able to enjoy them without the birds moving in there and attacking them and eating them. So this video is about how and why you should protect your fruit trees from birds and squirrels and stuff like that. I know it's self-evident, but let me show you what I did and why I did it. So this one here is a Loquat tree, and as you can see, there's a lot of Loquats that are now ripening and they're good size. This one I left this one on the tree on purpose so you can see it. That's what happens when a bird comes in and starts pecking at it. Now, that was before I put the bird netting on. Now, if I did not put the bird netting on, that one would be totally gone. And all of these ones that are turning orange right now, all the way around, you can see them throughout, they're turning orange. All of these right now, the birds would have moved in, and I'd be out here this morning looking at them, and I don't think I would have one that I could harvest, or maybe I would get lucky and have one I could harvest. But right now it looks like I could go in there and pick a dozen and see how they look, taste them and enjoy them. So let me show you what I did. Okay, so you know I have fence around it. That's to protect it from the deer, because the deer would move in, scrape the velvet off of their antlers, and it would kill the tree. Plus, the does would come in and eat all the leaves, so I protect it from deer. But also, I went ahead and put in these posts with PVC pipe, went up and over, and put some good quality bird netting with small holes so the birds don't get caught up in it. And I've been doing that to all my fruit trees. I have videos down below. I labeled them part 1, 2, and 3, and there'll be 4 and 5. Even though they're not different parts, it's showing my DIY project. Each one was a little different, but I accomplished the same thing on the cheap from my scrap pile, except for the bird netting. So what I did with this just now is I came out, and right over here, this pipe is holding the netting away. I put this rebar in and that rebar, and this gives me a little entrance way so I could go on the inside and harvest my fruit without having to take all this down. All I got to do is lift up the netting and go through. So I have a bucket. I'm going to go ahead and go on the inside and harvest some because I love Loquats. And I don't like for the whole tree to become ripe at one time, because some Loquats will be overripe, and you know how that goes. So I like getting out here every couple days and harvesting some when they're becoming ripe. And if you notice, when they become ripe, not only do they change color, but they actually plump up, and they go from green to sort of like a yellowish. Then they go to a darker orange, and that's when you know they're ready to harvest. Okay, so I'm going to work my way under there and around and harvest them. Okay, so the open I made is perfect for me to squeeze through. but there's still some fence points on it where I cut it. I got to go in and bend them over, put tape on them or something, because I don't want them to get caught on me. So let's harvest some. I'm going to leave that one on so I can still show people what it looks like. Now every now and then when you harvest one, you're going to get a green one. That's all right. But you can kind of see the color difference over here. And this one's a little softer, perfect for ripening. Okay, I'm going to work my way around and come out and show you. Okay, so I went ahead and harvested some. I'm going to go back in there after this video and harvest more. So when you harvest a loquat, you don't want to pull on it. You want to grab it and give it a twist and it'll come right off. This one here I want to twist, and that's where the other one was. But look, if you take it like this and you twist it, that's how you do it when it's on the tree. And you can see the subtle differences in color. So these are ripe, but they still had a little bit more to go. And these are a darker orange. They're ready to eat. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do a taste test. Obviously, you can't do the taste test. And we're going to see what the inside looks like. You can see right away they have a seed. You could toss it, or you could save it and plant it. Most people put those in seaweed so they stay moist. You don't want them to get dry. So it's best if you get it to plant it right away. You'll start seeing some come up from the ground if the squirrels don't get it, which they won't with that. But if you put them in little pots and pot and soil, put them in the house on the LED lights, because it's still cool outside, they will sprout if you keep them moist within a few days. You could even put them in a baggie with little paper towel that's moist, put it on the refrigerator, and you'll see them sprout. Then you can plant them. So you could pop the seeds out like that. You see how juicy that is? Look, real juicy. They have a unique flavor. Even though they're small fruit, they pack a punch. Excellent. Now I have 4 different varieties. I have 3 that are fruited now, and I have some Big Jim that are going to be a lot bigger. They're the size of my chicken eggs. And you know, during this summer they should start growing, and eventually I'll put them out here. But you can see right here, the birds did not get any of these, and they're soft and ripe. Guaranteed, the amount of birds I have around the yard, all of these right now, I would not have been able to harvest, because the birds would have pecked the whole top off and more than likely got the whole thing, because that's what they do. They peck them, they like it, then they get the whole thing, and I would have not been able to enjoy any of them. So by utilizing this mesh, And you only have to put the mesh on right about this time of the year. I lost a few of the birds and then I put the netting over it. We are in February right now. So February and March is the harvest time. So by April, all of these should be harvested, and I take the netting off. I could use it on my peach trees and so forth that ripen later. So you can move them around. Just keep the framing up or remove the framing, because they're in, the way I made it, they're in post. You could remove it, and you could even use that on your other trees as they become ripening. So that's a win-win. You don't have to have one for each and every fruit tree you have. It just depends what time of the year they ripen so you could harvest them. So right after I harvest these, I'll be harvesting my peaches and so on. They are just so good. And the seeds are no bother. Sort of like an apple. You could go ahead and toss the seeds. There may be other uses for it. You could put this whole thing in your mouth and spit out the seeds like you do an apple. I just don't like eating that little piece like an apple's, like the core. But the rest of it on the inside is really nice. Delicious. Now, online, if you do a search for preserving loquats, people make jams and pies and jellies, you know. They make a lot of stuff out of it, because when you harvest it, it only lasts a day or two inside the house. They don't last long. So eat them fresh, or have a game plan where you're going to preserve them. I don't know if you freeze them and thaw them out. I don't know anything about that. But I eat what I can, preserve what I can, and I have a lady that's going to go ahead and make marmalade and stuff out of them. I'll be giving her a bunch. And the remainder of what you don't eat, if they're starting to over ripen, you can pick them off, put them in a pile, the birds will get them, or just remove the net, and within a day or two they'll be gone, guaranteed. So, you know, it just depends what you want to do with it. So good. So on your loquats, I already explained the color. You can feel them when they're soft, they're ready to go ahead and eat. In the videos before this, you could see me making the frames, DIY project from scraps I had around. So if I could do it, you could do it. The thing I want to get across to you is it's well worth it to do it. All this cost me nothing except for the mesh. That was $25. I put a link below the description in those videos, because when you search for bird mesh netting, very confusing, very misleading. A lot of them rip, they get caught, the material is not strong, the openings are bigger. So since I finally got a good quality, I put the link down below, which, you know, I normally don't put links, but I don't want you to go through what I went through. So I did include those. So I did include those links, and I'll put it down below this video too. So anyway, instead of me walking around and showing you all my peach trees, they're all in blossom now, and I got the peaches coming in, and the loquats are now being harvested. I've got videos down below, and I keep adding. So make sure you give me a like. That helps out my channel. Subscribe to my channel and you get to see all the other videos and my harvesting that I'll be posting here in the next coming days and weeks and months and years to come. So I hope you do, and I hope you get to watch some of my other videos. Okay, so I just went ahead and harvested more. I'm sitting here on a bench in front of one of my banana plants, and I'm just going to go ahead and eat them and throw the seeds away. So, just to recap, when you don't even have to see them. When you reach your hand up and feel them, you'll feel some are harder and some are softer. Just go ahead and harvest the softer ones. And I just want to touch up on, because I did notice that there were some on the plant that was splitting. I just broke them and threw them on the ground. And there were some that was starting to overripe. I just twisted them and threw them on the ground. And I just picked the ripe ones. So from here on out, every 2 to 3 days, you need to check your plants because they ripen that quick. Now, to get these to be nice and plump and tasty, I have videos below. You got to search my channel. When I planted my Loquat trees, I dug a really big 6 foot by 6 foot bed, about 2 feet, 2.5 feet deep, and I filled it with horse manure, a little bit of sand mixed in there, flattened it out, packed it down. Then I dug a hole and put my plant in, so the bed is prepped really good. And then once the tree got to be full and mature and was producing fruit, you fertilize it twice a year. If you go online, you'll see what you could fertilize it with. But basically a 20-20-20 would be good, and that's what I use twice a year. And also I put AgroThrive liquid around it, and that really makes them get nice and plump, but increases the taste. If you go ahead and you eat loquats off of a tree that's non-fertilized, they'll taste good, I agree, because I stop at roadsides where there's a nice public tree, humongous, 25 foot tall, 30 foot wide, and I grab a branch that is loaded and I eat them, and they're good. But they do not compare to when you fertilize your plant twice a year. The last time that I did this was in the fall when the blossoms just started. So that way more blossoms started and the nutrients went into the fruit. And then afterwards in the spring, I'll do it again so it has fertilizer throughout the whole summer. And that's all they need. They don't need a whole lot. But I'll also give them some AgroThrive in between that helps the root system. But now, if I just took this off of a tree that is just wild, no fertilizer, no nothing, it will taste good. But side by side, there's no comparison. The taste. It just pops. It is so good. So I just wanted to stress that fact. The seeds are removed. Look how good that looks on the inside. If you're growing loquats and you kind of like them, but maybe not, try fertilizing them when the blossoms first start coming in, and then in the spring. And you could do like AgroThrive or something in the summertime. But make sure they have adequate water. You don't want the root system to be wet. But your loquats will come in good. They'll be so juicy. They'll be so tasty. And I think you will love them. But that's the only tip that I can really give to you is fertilize twice a year with a 20-20-20 or whatever you want to utilize. Make sure they have adequate water, but the root system, don't let it stay wet. And net your trees so you get to enjoy them and the birds don't get them all. And be prepared. Your hands are going to get sticky. You're going to drip juice on you. Have a little wet towel around if you're going to sit down and eat them. Now, like I say, you can pop this whole thing in your mouth. And spit out the seeds. Or you could just go ahead and bite a piece of it off. Those seeds come right out. I'm just going to throw them. If it wasn't for that right there, that's, you know, like an apple. You don't want to eat that. If it wasn't for that, I would just eat the whole thing. So I eat all of it. And that's the only thing I toss. Wow, delicious. Okay, so with that said, hey, this is Sam the Frugal Hugel Gardener. I hope you enjoyed my bonus footage. Don't forget to give me a like, give me a share, definitely subscribe to my channel. You never know what I'm going to come up with, but hopefully there's something that you're going to get something out of and enjoy. Hope to see you soon.